news content today, and recent news regarding the No Kings who basically marches are going to be going across the U.S. tomorrow um, in rebellion to recent Trump enacted military decisions regarding ICE. We're going to go into more details on that. And then we're also going to be going to talk about the most recent Israel attack on Iran and the retaliation. So we have a lot to go over today. And really, we're going to start with some of these tweets that I've kind of been going and doing some research on to really give you guys some perspective of what's going on, who's to blame, where should you, what kind of perspectives you should know about, and much more here. So let's kind of watch this first tweet here. So this is actually a tweet from President Trump, basically speaking on the No Kings, um, basically march slash protest that's basically going to be going around, to my understanding, all over the U.S. tomorrow, and I'm assuming it's going to be all over the weekends. There's been a lot of governors of various cities basically coming out, and some people are, in approval. So I know Governor Newsom in California, he's been pushing for a peaceful protest, and there's been a lot going on in LA regarding that, and that's, I think, what has really led to this no peace movement coming across the US here. Um and then um, States like Florida, on the other hand, are being a lot more aggressive with how they're going to be dealing with these people, and threats have basically been made for people that aren't in compliant. So it's going to be very interesting this weekend as we go deeper. But really, as we know, this is world class media where we have a kingdom of perspective on news, and so that's really what we're going to be going over today regarding the perspectives that bi- biblical people should be having in these crazy times. So, without further ado, let's actually get into this first tweet here. So, um, let's see here. So he literally quotes, "A king would never have the California mandate to be talking about. He wouldn't have to call Mike Johnson and Thun and say, fellas, pull this off, and after years, get it done." We're actually going to watch the video here, but before we do, um, I basically wanted to, this thought process of no king has been something that I've thought of, and essentially, when it comes to no king, what I really think about is how, the God's kingdom, really, and how the kingdom of God is essentially a government system, and that's one of the reasons why the U.S. really struggles when it comes to submitting to God. And now we literally have this no king movement. So it can mean a lot of things, and only time will really tell what it actually means. But I think it reflects like this philosophy of us having rebellion over no kings, and whether that is Trump directly or Jesus himself, right? And it's very interesting because at the end of this video, Trump literally starts talking about Jesus. So let's actually get into it. So, no kings here.
There are several No Kings protests planned across the country.
Okay, let's actually start this over here. Okay, so
On Saturday as well. What are your thoughts on those?
What do they go? No king?
No Kings.
I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved. A king would say, I'm not going to get this. A king would have never had the California mandate to even be talking to him. He wouldn't have to call up Mike Johnson and Thune and say, fellas, you got to pull this off, and after years we get it done. No, no, we're not a king. We're not a king at all. Thank you very much.
There are several no.
There's actually another video where he actually talks about Jesus. So I think I may have even bookmarked it. So let me see if I have it bookmarked somewhere here. No, it doesn't look like I have it. It doesn't look like I bookmarked it, but I'm sure I could find it because I really want to show you guys what Trump said at the end of this. And it was somebody else that basically said it. So Trump, no king. That's 29 seconds here.
For America to be a great nation, we must always be one nation under God, a phrase that they would like to get rid of the radical.
No, that wasn't it. It was specifically on the no kings. All right, looks like I can't find it. Did I message it to myself?
We should skip it. I don't know. I'm just not really feeling it. World War III, folks. Hard pass.
Not that one. Let's um let's look at trending topics. Should show up on the trending here. So we have trending topics. No Kings was trending earlier today. Let me type in no Kings. All right, so I can't find it exactly, but basically at the video that I watched earlier was really talking about Trump basically was like, "No king. I don't." He basically was like, "There is a king though, and that's basically King Jesus." Um, Trump, no King Jesus. See if I can find it on YouTube here. So this is 2 minutes here. Yeah, no luck on finding it, guys. That's all right. But what I think is super interesting, like it was just that, like this. I think he while Trump is actually like in office, he literally says like he doesn't feel like a king. And when we think of what a king actually is, a king is somebody that basically like rules the land, and essentially they are able to make, call the shots. But literally, Trump's literally saying right now like he doesn't feel like a king, and that he's not calling the shots, and that's literally how he's feeling right now. So I I'm really intrigued to like know what your guys' thoughts are. So, I'd love to kind of hear. So if you guys could comment, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions on this matter. Because it's super interesting. And what I actually like to do, I like to read these comments here. And honestly, like with AI and everything, maybe that No King video that I watched earlier may have just been like an AI generated video because it was pretty cool honestly to see. I was really hoping this wasn't a deep fake. Okay. Bravo. This is not on his truth social. Here's how Donald Trump can break China's battery. Here's Sherlock Holmes. All right. King Trump. Exactly unreal. China's. Yeah, so there's really definitely an interesting time, and I really actually I wanted to talk about like the meaning behind all this no king stuff because sometimes there's like subliminal messages that we have to consider when it comes to this stuff, and this could be the sign of us basically or America itself essentially going against the government and and basically starting to revolt in terms of going back to Jesus as being king, right? Like I'm not saying that's what it is. It doesn't seem like it, but it could be the start of something like that. Who knows, right? It would be really cool because it's like when they say no kings, maybe there could be subliminal messages or just a deeper meaning that it could be about not relying on humans and people as being kings because people are just super tired of being failed, right? And I don't necessarily, I'm not saying that's what it is, but that it would be awesome. It would be amazing if that's what we're going back to, right? Um, but at the same time, like what I really think this is more about is the fact that people don't like to submit to authority. And it's unfortunate that but that's the case because like Jesus is king. And if you're not, you got to submit. Like you're going to be submitting to somebody, whether it's the devil, whether it's the government. But I highly recommend if you're going to submit to somebody, it should be Jesus as king, right? And I think that's one thing that's super hard for especially Americans is we're not used to having like this kingdom mindset, this kingdom ideology. And you know, if we could shift our mindsets and be okay with having kings, having living in a kingdom and being citizens, law abiding citizens to that, we would make it a lot further. But as a democracy, we often approach our religion and everything as we have to have a say so and we have to control, right? And we have to always have an opinion on what's right, what's wrong, and as opposed to seeking the king, which is Jesus, for that counsel, for that wisdom, right? So it's very important. I think that's super important to just take note of. But so that's what the No King movement's about. I'll definitely give you guys an update as we kind of go on here. But that's that's going to be very interesting to kind of see it develop over the weekend and over this next year as Trump is in office right now because Trump is definitely more of an aggressive president. He's a go-getter, so like he's going to do more than he's done more than most presidents that have been in office, and that could come at a cost of something, right? It comes at a cost. So whether you like it or not, like Trump's going to continue moving forward. So we'll see how the rest of his presidency goes. But you know, either we start if it continues on how it's been. I really think honestly, like as a leader, a lot of times people revolt to begin with, and then once they start seeing the results of all the things that you do, then you become the winner. Then you become the person that everyone like glorifies. And I think that's kind of what's going on right now, especially with Trump. Like, I think people don't, they think in terms of the short term and they don't think in terms of the long term. So a lot of things that he's doing right now, it's painful. It's painful. It's like short term pain for long term like glory, right? But we'll see. Only time could tell. I have no idea. I know like he's a very smart business minded person, and I don't necessarily know the his agenda, when it comes to um the underlying agenda that he may or may not have, but I do think this is more of a long-term play for most of the things that he's doing. So the ICE situation, guys, that's a whole nother subject. Let's actually look more into that. Actually, if you miss what's been going on in California, it has everything to do with this no it has everything to do with this no king thing. So basically, um there has been protests in California that basically has turned super violent, right? And let's actually look up some of the stuff in California here, and I want to show you guys what's been going on in California, for anybody that like may not have been paying attention. So this there's been a lot of protests in California, and these protests in California has basically been like it turned violent. So like LA, they basically turned into LA riots. That's literally what it's turned into. And you come here, you could literally see like a lot of they were like literally burning cars, these Waymo cars, where this is literally like in the middle of the streets in LA, burning Waymo cars, waving the Mexican flags. And the thing is like this is LA. Like, this is literally LA, guys. Like, literally looks like a scene from a movie, which is absolutely insane. But the thing is, when we talk about this stuff, like the it's supposed to it's supposed to be a protest. It's supposed to be peaceful. But when it turns violent, then you have all the political leaders start blaming each other. The governor of Newsom and Trump are literally blaming each other. And instead of coming in like unity, you have these leaders just bashing each other and blaming each other. And I don't care what party you're part of, but it's like, if we can't come to an agreement on anything, how are we ever supposed to solve anything? And then on top of that, the whole Iran and Israel thing is now coming into play. So not only is America have all its issues internally, now we have these issues externally. And if anything, we should have our internal things figured out, so we could focus on the enemies outside, that ultimately are could attack any day. But so it's super important that we're like in touch with this stuff, and that's why I'm really going over this stuff, because like we need to understand and have a kingdom mindset when it comes to this stuff. So let's actually look at this tweet. Once literally Trump tweeted this earlier this week here. um literally tweeted this. Let's actually zoom in here. He says, a once great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. Now violent, insurrectionable mobs are swarming and attacking our federal agents to try to stop our deportation operations. But these lawless riots only strengthen our resolve. I am directing Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Attorney Journal Pam Bondi, in coordination with all other relevant departments of agencies, to take all such actions necessary to liberate Los Angeles from the migrant invasion and put an end to these migrant riots. Order will be restored, the illegals will be expelled, and Los Angeles will be set free. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So ultimately, um, nothing was done from California. I'm not going to say nothing, but President Trump wasn't happy with it. So he ultimately sent in the military to basically go and clean up the streets. I honestly don't even know where we stand right now, but the people, there has been a lot of people not too happy with the way it was being handled. And meaning they weren't happy with how aggressive some of these people were being as it relates to handling it. um, but literally, that's literally like these is literally the streets of LA throughout has been like it started last weekend, and now this weekend we're gonna be having protests all across America. And my hope is that these protests aren't violent. My hope is that they're not violent, and that they're done in the most peaceful way. And literally, like I want to show you guys what the governor of Florida has said about this stuff. I can't even recall his name right now. It's DeSanti, I believe. DeSanti. Yeah, Ron DeSanti here. So earlier the police here in America or in Florida recently came out with a statement. Um, Let me actually type in Ron DeSanti. And I just want to show you like the different like philosophies around this stuff, because like, oh, you know what, actually I bookmarked it earlier, so we could actually take a look at what that actually looks like. So where's this bookmark at? So this bookmark right here, um in this video here, I and if you guys follow me on Twitter, I would literally like will give you guys my thoughts on a lot of this stuff. So let's actually go to my tweets, because that's where I started like talking about it. So here goes the no king stuff here. And literally I tweeted earlier, I don't care what side, I'll never follow blindly like a sheep. I think a lot of times, sometimes we like when it comes to our belief systems, we to pick a side, we pick a party, and we forget about our faith. We forget about what the Bible teaches, and that's where really what I want us to really stand on, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the who's in office, no matter what it is. That we always think like, what's the agenda here? Is it aligned with our belief systems, rather than just following people and doing things that are inhumane, that are against the principles that the Bible teach us, right? So, um, let me show you guys this video again here. All right, so Santi, let's see here. All right, here goes the video right here. This is the video that I was talking about earlier today.
So
So
I'm
this
gonna
is
I'm gonna break it down for you. All
so
right.
this is in Florida here. And basically he kind of threatens us here, guys. Like, his quote is, if you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will notify your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you. Graveyard dead. We're not gonna play, guys. I really don't like that statement, because it reminds me of the Black Lives Matter movement, when there was so much going on because somebody died. And I literally, like, it's so bad. So basically, um, on this video here, we have the governors of Florida. Literally, like, he's I thought he was behind it, but this is not the governor of Florida. But I don't know exactly who the guy is. I'm assuming he's like the head of one of the heads of like the police departments or something. So Brevard County here, but just just watch what he says in this. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital, then jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail. Anyways, let's watch the video, guys, and then I'll get kind of give you guys like my thought process on it. Give me a second here. All right. All right. So
So
this is
I'm
literally
gonna break it down for you. All right. And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one,
all right. I'm actually gonna start that over because it looks like it like paused work midway here. So you guys, let's see here. All right, let's try this again here for you guys.
of us, so I'm gonna break it down for you. All right. And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going.
All right, you guys get the picture there. They're obviously not kidding, not joking regarding the people that are going to be protesting in their county, and I think it's very important for us to know that, but also just like what I see there what they're where they're coming from, but it's the thought process of that they're going in with a certain agenda, and it's almost as if they're, when if something goes wrong, like I strongly believe violence, and violence is never the answer, like literally. So it's almost as if, like, I'm not saying like, for example, it's like if you spit on us, you're going to the hospital. I'm like, it's almost as if like they're trying to 10x whatever happens. So it's like, hey, if you're caught, like, I think I can't remember. I can if you mob the rule, like literally, it's like if you're like walking across the street, we're gonna run you over. Like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. And I don't necessarily like that thought because it's like kind of promoting violence in a way. So it's very hard for me to stand for something like that. Um so yeah, let's continue here. Um let's go on here to some more content here that on this subject matter. Super interesting stuff for sure. Um, so let's go to, oh, the irony. Let's see here. I guess we could kind of pivot now. I think now that we've kind of covered all that, my next item here, that I really wanted to go over was just like this Iran topic, and in the Israel and what's been going on, and it's fairly a new subject for me. Like, getting into media, I'm just now kind of catching up to speed on some of this Iran Israel stuff. But the reason I'm going over this is because when we think of like the Bible, obviously there's a lot being talked about in the Bible regarding Israel and what Israel stands for when it comes to being the chosen people, essentially. So recently, the backstory on the Israel topic here. Let's actually show. I could actually show you some of the things that's been going on when it comes to this. Um, let's see here. Let's actually go to is it should be should yeah. So I read military social media posts cause online stir. Um, let's actually start looking at some of these like Iran things. So it'll just give you an idea of what's been going on. So we've arrived literally. This is Iran, basically. Um, I guess Iran's kind of been promoting a lot of their attacks and stuff on Twitter, which is very interesting. It's almost as if they're more. It's almost as if they're more concerned or they're more happy with showing that they're what they're doing rather than um, actually doing something, I guess. Like it's almost as if they're doing it for so the world could see them, so they could just essentially like give respect. I'm like, I don't know what kind of war this is. I guess it's a social media war plus an in-person war, but they're literally showing like, hey, like don't mess with us because you guys first attacked us. Basically, Israel attacked them. But I even when they says everyone's saying Israel's the one that first attacked, but I remember last year Israel was attacked by I believe Hamas or Gaza or something along those lines, and they believed that Iran funded the whole deal. So that was super interesting. Let me actually let's look that up real quick. Was it Gaza on Israel? Yeah, so was it this one right here? On October 7, 2023, Hamas-led militant groups launched a surprise attack on Israel, in which 1,195 people died, um, including 815 civilians were killed. So, um, so that happened in 2003. That happened in 2003, and let me show you guys here what I was reading on that. It's actually just display here. So I was just reading this right here on October 7th, on 7th October 2023, Hamas-led militant groups launched a surprise attack on Israel in which 1,195 Israelis and foreign nations, including 815 civilians, were killed and 251 taken hostage, with the stated goal of forcing Israel to release Palestinians prisoners. Um, so that was very and I think during this time they were arguing that this whole like thing was like the types of bombs and like types of weapons that was used, like they had to get the funding in these weapons from somebody, and it was believed to be Iran. So in a way, this literally could be Israel finding a good enough reason to just get their payback, because the Israel was attacked in 2023, and I remember everyone was pray for Israel, and I remember I went to Israel. Or no, I didn't go to Israel. I went to Italy, and I met somebody from Israel, and he was traveling, and he literally was telling me how bad it was in Israel, and this was just last summer. So it's you know I don't necessarily know how the condition is now, but essentially what caused this war is Israel essentially attacked Iran yesterday, I believe it was, and the reason behind it was because they Iran basically have nuclear weapons that they do not want um them to have. And this is actually, I did some research, and this is not the first time that Israel has done something like this. The the concern for Israel is Israel as this as a whole is basically surrounded by all these countries and groups that basically don't like them. And Israel basically has to do whatever they can to protect themselves. And the US has also been helping Israel a lot. And we could actually look at what Trump said regarding the Israel um this Iran and Israel stuff here. So this is what literally Trump said here. He says, "I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They are all dead now." Wow. And it will only get worse. There has already been great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Iran must make a deal before there is nothing left, and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it is too late. God bless you all. Well, what I'm getting from that is it seems as if Donald Trump knows about another attack that's going to be happening here, and basically saying, you guys need to basically um come up with a deal with us. Cuz the thing is, when he went with this tweet, he's actually referring, I believe Donald Trump gave Iran about 60 days to basically give them an answer on how they are going to plan on limiting some of their nuclear weapons and things that they're building. And apparently on day 61, he gave them 60 days, and on day 61, Israel attacked. So I don't know how much it this all had to do with each other, but I wouldn't be surprised if it all was related, guys. And I don't necessarily know how much Trump is actually involved potentially in this whole situation. I don't know, but I believe Iran is not happy with Trump or Israel or the US at this point. So I would say at this point we are all, should have our guards up and be prepared. But um you know, I I personally, like, when it comes to I was talking to my partner earlier about this whole situation, and he was actually telling me a little bit more about how this all came to be and stuff like that. But some people are seeing Israel as the bully in this situation because they're the ones that attacked first. And from I see from Israel's perspective, like, literally, if a nuclear bomb were to hit them, they're literally the size of New Jersey. So if a nuclear bomb, they're literally surrounded by people that don't like them, and they don't like them for plenty of reasons: political, territorial, religious reasons. Like, they're literally surrounded by enemies. They're literally surrounded by people, and the fact that they're partnering with America, and America has supplied so many weapons. That I think is the reason why they're kind of still standing now. But without uh, without America, I don't necessarily know how much they would survive. But to my understanding, they're very intelligent people. They have very good knowledge on certain weapons that we don't even have in America. Um, so that's kind of what's going on. but I'm very intrigued about it because it's Israel, right? Like this is the country that basically is like God's chosen people. And I have a quick little study here, so we actually could do a little bit more studies on that. Candace Nicole always has like great opinions, so I thought it was very interesting to kind of see her perspective on this situation as well. Because I love having like different perspective. Candace Owens literally says the most predictable war possible ever. I'm so sick of Israel and those who pretend its actions are normal or even remotely justifiable. This country has a bloodlust like no other. Have an issue with this tweet? I literally do not care. Think defending Israel's demonic actions is going to guarantee you a spot in heaven? Double your indulgence and sign your offspring up to die for Netanyahu. Leave the rest of us the hell alone. I honestly, I need to do more research as to what exactly she's talking about with like some of this demonic stuff. Because like I always thought Israel was the kind of holy city, and it's almost as if like um she doesn't like the thought of like Israel attacking other people and being on attack rather than defense. It seems like she doesn't necessarily like that. But at the same time, like these people are also marketers, so maybe she knows that most of America might not be on that stance. I have no idea. But I need to do a lot more due diligence on this whole subject because I would like to know I would like to know why from a religious standpoint, I wanted like to know like where do like Hamas, Iran, and people stand when it comes to their belief in Jesus, and I need to do more due diligence on the Israel people as well to see where their beliefs is, because like I said, our decisions that we make on stances and who we support should be coming from a biblical standpoint, guys. So that's kind of my thought process right now as it relates to this whole subject matter. But let's actually go over some of this biblical stuff that I read that I've been doing research on. So when it comes to this whole Israel topic, um, so I said, what are the biblical references for how Christians should think about no king? So this actually was for the no king stuff earlier, but here this one right here is the this is for the Israel stuff that we're kind of talking about right now. So like when we think of so here goes some of the biblical references here in here goes some of the biblical references in let's see here. Yeah, so here goes some of the biblical references here. So literally says God intervenes supernaturally, sending earthquake, hailstones, fires, and birthstones. So the verse is Ezekiel 38 through 39. What it says, a coalition of nations led by Gog of the land will invade Israel in the later days. The attackers, including Persia, which it says Iran. So that's literally like why I say like is this like the early days of the end? We have no idea. I don't think it's me personally. I don't think there's enough signs to really say that it is, but it's very interesting to see that the parties that this is involved, and that's why like we need to be paying attention and we need to understand what's going on because like if it is close to the end times, like we need to we need to be getting right, guys. Like there's really no time to waste here. God's response. So God intervenes supernaturally. In the later years, key verse, in the later years, you will come in the land that is restored from war. You will come up against my people Israel like a cloud to cover the land. So I want to go to the Blue Letter Bible now and actually read their interpretation of this, guys. Ezekiel 38. ESV version. Did I spell Ezekiel wrong? Or what happened there? Ezekiel 38. Okay, so 38. Ezekiel 38. All right, so the Ezekiel 38, and then it's 38 through 39. So prophecy against Gog. The word of the Lord came, son of man, forced towards Gog, okay? And thus the Lord behind, I am against you, Gog, okay? Shouldn't put on guys, I'm gonna have to like do a deep study on this part right here because this is like two whole chapters. So let's continue here. Zechariah 12 through 14. So like that's another two whole chapters. All nations will gather against Jerusalem, but God will defend Israel. So that's very interesting, guys. It's literally saying like people are gonna be against Jerusalem here, which is in Israel. The people of Israel will look upon me, whom they have pierced, and mourn. So away from God, and maybe this is part of the prophecy that they are going to start turning back to God. It shall happen in that day that I will make Jerusalem a very heavy stone for all people. I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. So me personally, I would never want to be against Jerusalem or Israel because of this verse alone. So that's all I have to read is like, yo, Jesus is literally warning us like don't be against Israel. So, you know, that's kind of where I stand. So Daniel 11 and 13, Daniel speaks on the final king, often interpreted as the antichrist who will wage war and desecrate the holy place in Israel. So at that time of the end, the king of south shall attack him, and the king of the north shall come against him. He shall enter the glorious land. Jesus speaks on Jerusalem with the surround. Okay, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolate is near. And then we have Revelations as well. They gathered them together, the place called the Hebrews. Okay, so yeah, key takeaways, guys. Global hostility towards Israel will intensify in the end times, which we are seeing. God protects and vindicates Israel often through supernatural means. Because of that, guys, I would never want to be against Israel just because of that promise alone in the Bible. Messianic redemption is tied to Israel recognizing the Messiah. Final battles like Armageddon and Gog Magog focus on Israel as central stage of spiritual and global conflict. And we are seeing that, guys. So, with that being said, a lot of things are, things that we should be paying attention to as Christians, as it's very important because, like, this stuff is in the Bible. Um, literally, so I literally had like more questions. So, my second question, I said, how does it recently, here goes some of the other things that you could look into here, which we kind of just read up above and I actually wanted to show you some more questions I had. So, why did Israel attack Iran? So, retaliation for drone and missile attacks. Um, I would fact check this, but literally, it's basically saying that Iran basically tried to attack Israel with drones, and I guess they intercepted all the drones. So, this is stuff that I think I think the media really didn't cover because I think in today's media it was, oh, Israel attacked first, which is kind of weird that this was missed. This whole retaliation of the drones were missed. But like I said, I would fact check that, guys. Disruption of Iran's nuclear program. I kind of brought that up, guys. That was really the main reason. Targeting military leadership and infrastructure. Guys, there was a whole bunch of leaders that were killed in this attack. Like, if we, if we were keeping like score, Israel would definitely be up one because of all the leaders that were attacked. And when you think of like leaders and people leading these like attacks, like, guys, if you lose your leader, it's super hard to replace. It's super hard to find good leaders, guys. Message to regional and global actors. So literally, it's like this is literally saying like Iran has been an issue and no one else wants to take action, and Israel's literally saying that they're gonna take action. They're gonna be the first ones to start taking action, and in a way, I don't necessarily know if this is gonna force America to get involved. I'm assuming America's already involved to some degree, but Israel, I guess, has a lot of faith in the U.S. So that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in here. We'll give you guys an update tomorrow based off of how everything's going. So I appreciate you guys tuning in.